Hello, I'm Tamara Banks, and welcome to Denver Decides. This community partnership is dedicated to accessible and transparent elections. The partnership includes the League of Women Voters of Denver, Interneighborhood Cooperation, and Historic Denver. Denver Decides is presented by Denver 8 TV. Our mission today is to present a candidate forum in anticipation of the municipal election coming up on Tuesday, May 7th. Among other offices, this election includes candidates vying to represent voters of Denver City Council from District 6. Council District 6 is located in central East Denver. Our format includes timed opening and closing statements. We'll also have rounds of questions that have been submitted by the organizers of the forum. The race for City Council District 6 only has one candidate this time around. So, may I introduce to you the unopposed candidate on the ballot for this seat is Paul Cashman. Thank you so much for being here, Councilman Cashman.
Well, thank you, Tamara. My name is Paul Cashman. I'm honored to be running for re-election as your representative from South Denver District 6. I've lived in Denver for 48 years. I've been a resident of District 6 for 45 years, and for the past 26 years, I've lived on the 1200 block of South Elm Street in the Virginia Village neighborhood. Before serving on City Council, I published a South Denver monthly newspaper called Washington Park for 36 years, covering the news in the neighborhoods I now serve on City Council. I've experienced the district as a resident, as a parent, as a grandparent, as a small businessman, and for the past 3.5 years as City Council representative. I think I'm well prepared to continue the work that we've begun the past few years on housing and homelessness, on mobility, on neighborhood empowerment, and I look forward to continuing as your representative.
All right. Thank you for your opening statement, Mr. Cashman. We'll start now with our questions. Our first question is, District 6 is experiencing a wave of interest in preservation, with numerous individual homes under construction for landmark status. What ideas do you have for connecting these efforts and simplifying the recognition and designation process?
Well, I've been very pleased in the time I've been in office to help facilitate a conservation overlay district in the Virginia Village neighborhood, a historic district in the Vassar Bungalows in Rosedale, Harvard Gulch, and we've worked on a number of individual properties in the University Park neighborhood specifically. In simplifying the historic designation process, we have a committee that's been working and formalizing recommendations, but one that I expect to be put forward is when there's a proposal for a demolition of a historic property to allow more time for the neighborhood and the developer to discuss the situation in hopes of forestalling that demolition.
All right, thank you. Our next question. It seems this election has an undertone of old Denver versus new Denver to it. Which do you consider yourself and why?
Well, I've lived in Denver for a long time, and I've loved Denver since first becoming acquainted with it on a trip across the country in the late 1960s. But Denver is changing. Every day when we wake up, there's more people on the face of the globe than there's ever been before, and a lot of those people want to come to Colorado, and Denver in particular. Denver is changing rapidly. I still think it's a wonderful place to live. The pace of growth has really been breathtaking, and I think we need to do a better job of including more affordable housing in our developments, more open space in our developments. We need to do a better job of figuring out how to move people around our city efficiently and with a degree of affordability.
All right, thank you. We'll take a deeper dive into growth and lots of folks moving here. According to Dr. Cog and the state demographers' estimates, the city of Denver is expected to grow by 200,000 residents by 2040. Where do you think this growth should be directed?
Well, I think the growth needs to be directed around the city where it's appropriate. I think the most density is going to be appropriate along our main corridors and around transit stops. It makes the most sense there. But I think there are other tools for density that can spread the burden around a little bit. I like the idea of expanding the use of accessory dwelling units where we can. I like the idea of expanding moderate levels of density along our main business corridors.
All right. Before we get to the next question, I want to remind our viewers that Paul Cashman is running unopposed. That's why there's only one candidate here with us right now. So our next question, please identify what you consider to be the most significant crime problem in your district, and how do you propose to combat it?
If we're talking about one crime problem, I'm going to go to the area of traffic abuse, of people driving too fast, people cutting through neighborhood streets when they should be on our main traffic corridors. While it may not be a crime that's going to put people in jail, traffic in the city is the main issue that most of us, if not all of us on council, hear about on a daily basis. You know, people want stop signs, they want traffic lights, they want cops coming out giving tickets. And when the cops come out to give tickets, what they tell us is 90% of those tickets are going to locals. So it's not someone from Idaho visiting, it's not someone from Littleton going downtown. It's you and me and the folks in the audience that are driving too fast. So one thing that I did was printed up about 250 yard signs that say, drive 25, it won't kill you. Because if we can get us to slow down, then 90% of the problem is going to be solved.
All right, thank you. Our next question. Last year, voters approved additional tax funds to improve mental health and substance abuse prevention services. What specific ideas do you have for using these funds?
Thank heavens Caring for Denver passed. So many of our problems seem to go back to behavioral health issues and the fact that we don't have a truly functioning mental health system or drug treatment beds in the city. I was pleased to recently be appointed to the city's behavioral health task force that is looking at those issues. And I think it's a simple matter of directing the dollars that'll be coming in. We're getting about $37 to $40 million a year towards more mental health beds and more drug treatment beds. And right now, our Denver jail system has 2,300 beds on any given night. About half of those beds are filled with inmates with a mental health code attached. Our jails are no place to be treating mental illness, and we need to do better.
All right, thank you. We're going to jump back into rapid growth. You've touched on this a little bit, but describe what you think are the benefits and/or detriments of the rapid population and construction growth in Denver.
Well, the problems that it's causing, traffic on the street, our parks are getting overused, and maintenance is becoming a problem. But the main problem with development that I see is the quality of what's being built is frequently not what I think Denverites are used to when you come from a city that used to be a whole lot of brick and real defined architecture. And I think that we're not including nearly the amount of green space, open space that we need to be having with our new developments. People always talk about the height of the buildings being built, but I think the problem is more than just looking at the height, is that if we had developments with an adequate amount of open space to create places where community can grow, I think people would probably be willing to have the buildings built a little bit taller, so we can get the housing and the development we need while we're getting that open space that people crave.
All right, thank you. As we mentioned earlier, you're running unopposed. To what do you attribute your being unopposed for this office?
I really would have no idea why I'm running unopposed. What I would tell you is that I think I've been very well prepared for the job that I'm doing in my longtime residency here. I've experienced the district as a single parent, as a couple, as I mentioned in my opening, with grandchildren. I've shopped at the businesses. I've worked as a small businessman. I've covered the news in this area. And I think I'm very well positioned or prepared to do the job that I've been elected to do.
All right, that's kind of a nice segue into exactly what does it mean to you to represent District 6?
Well, this is a blessed district compared to many around the city. We have an amazingly healthy housing stock. We almost have an embarrassment of riches in Parkland, again, compared to other districts. While we do have some areas that don't meet Denver Parks and Rec's goal of being within a 10-minute walk of a park, we have great retail business and offices and a commercial backbone. So what it means to me is I'm very grateful for the district. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve the district. I'm aware of the need to preserve the quality of life while recognizing that as healthy as we are, we have some rough edges, and we need to be sure that all the District 6 residents are participating in Denver's strengths.
All right, thank you. That brings an end to our questions and answering period. Now it's time for a closing statement, and you've got a minute and a half for your closing statement.
Well, I've just been very honored. It's been the great honor of my life to serve on Denver City Council the past 3.5 years. The challenge of helping our community meet these challenges that come from the great growth that has given us an almost indistinguishable low unemployment rate. Our people are working, our businesses are thriving. So I just want to help continue to meet the challenges that the good times are bringing us. If I'm blessed with a second term, I hope to work mainly on neighborhood empowerment to strengthen the voice that our neighborhoods bring to the questions, whether it's growth or mobility or housing and homelessness. And I hope to be more aggressive in the area of environmental issues and climate change.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cashman. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I also want to thank Denver Decides partners, which include Interneighborhood Cooperation, the League of Women Voters of Denver, and Historic Denver. Denver Decides is presented by Denver 8 TV. Remember, the election is Tuesday, May 7th. Let your voice be heard. Make sure you're registered to vote and then go out and vote. To get complete information online, go to denverdecides.com. I'm Tamara Banks. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.